Good afternoon, everyone. I don't think the date's going to be relevant for this particular video. So, we have a deal being human where we want to put our faith in other human beings and science. You keep hearing mainstream media talk ad nauseum about follow the science, follow the guidelines. Well, there's a little bit of a problem with that, and that problem would be that scientists are frequently wrong. And we follow these assholes' theories as if they're proven gospel. How many times have they thought something to be proven just for it to be disproven not long after? Quite a few. I'm going to give you an example of this. I watched this video about how our consciousness and frequencies affect ice crystals, the beauty of ice crystals, right? And they chose to use classical music, metal music, and so on and so forth. Well, they got pretty ugly ice crystals using metal music because they claim that the frequencies were negative. Okay? Well, here's the thing about metal music is it has every frequency range you can think of. It has highs, lows, mids, right? And what they overlooked in their experiment was the bias the experimenter or scientist had towards metal music. And as a result of that bias, the ice crystals came out deformed and ugly. Now, suppose a person who actually liked metal music were to do the same experiment. What do you think the outcome of that experiment would be? Well, I think that since there was no bias to that music, it would come out just the same as all the other frequencies and the classical music. Maybe different then, but nonetheless, it wouldn't cause deformation. The ice crystals would probably be perfectly beautiful, right? And people have been repeating what they've heard regarding this experiment. They followed the science. These assholes are telling you that all these other assholes are dying from a disease caused by coronavirus, right? They're telling you to follow the science. Wear your mask. Everywhere you go, there are signs up. Masks are required. Of course, I ignore these guidelines because I understand that scientists are frequently full of shit, specifically ones with political agendas, such as the beloved Dr. Anthony Fauci, such as computer scientist, not MD, Bill Gates. They have political agendas, so their science, as a result, is flawed. Just like the bias of the person, the scientist, who did the ice crystal experiment, which caused, his bias caused the deformation of ice crystals that were exposed to heavy metal music. We worship these people as if they're gods. We worship our politicians as if they are the end all, as if the buck stops at them. We have Christians who are more devout to the laws of the land than they are the laws of God. And the same goes for Muslims, Buddhists, and so on and so forth. So, I got this shirt today, and my shirt is a pentagram with a goat's head in it. And of course, I don't worship the devil. I don't worship any deities whatsoever. But I know other people do. And I'm going to wear this shirt out in public in a highly Christian area. Right? And I expect to be confronted at some point by some zealot. And that's when I will bring up the notion that they follow the land of the law of the land above the law of God. And tell them exactly what I think of them because of this. And it's not going to be very nice. I'm not going to be Mr. Polite about this, because I cannot stand a hypocrite. Cannot stand a hypocrite. So we have a bunch of people freaking out about their latest god, Donald Trump or Joe Biden. They're freaking out because they believe that one candidate will end everything or the other candidate will end everything. But the reality of the matter is we as humanity have ended everything as a result of our stupid beliefs. Our stupid beliefs. You know, the belief that scientists know better than our conscience. The belief that a God would want us to be limited in our thought and consciousness through churches. A belief that we do not have a direct connection ourselves with God through our own conscience. Human beings have great potential, and we have squandered our potential. Our potential has been squandered through fear, through a worship of science, through worship, and I'm not talking about, through worship of politicians, basically, and law, and order. People believe that civilization is the result is or religion rather is the mechanism that created civilization, but it's actually the other way around. It's religion that is responsible for creating civilization. The worship of God X, Y, or Z. And now here we are worshiping Donald Trump or Joe Biden, expecting that these assholes are going to fix somehow our sins. And our sin is the worship of these really monsters. They really are monsters. Both of them. Not just Joe Biden. Maybe Joe Biden is a bigger monster than Donald Trump. Maybe. But Donald Trump is still a monster. I mean, you remember, he too was a confidant of Jeffrey Epstein. And something else that has been grinding my gears for the last few months is I watched this channel, not all the time, but, you know, sometimes, called Epic Economist. And they make some decent videos. But they've been really on this food shortage thing. And the same goes with Ice Age Farmer and Adapt 2030, I believe the name is. They've been on this food shortage, talking about how all these people are going to be starving because there's not enough food to go around. Well, my deal is this. And specifically, they point to Latino and Black families that are the ones that are most affected by this hunger crisis, as they call it. Well, I myself, I eat one meal a day. One. And I do this willingly, not because I have to, but because I know that I do not need to gluttonize myself. I do not need to overeat. These people don't think of the idea that perhaps these groups, these individuals, perhaps they don't have food because, well, their priorities are different. Maybe they don't prioritize food enough, which is why they don't have enough. You contrast that to European type people, where we value being prepared and having enough on hand to survive whatever we can survive. And I'm not talking about all European type people, but as a whole, as a percentage, we do make up a larger percent of the prepping community than the other two groups. So if they're hungry, it's not our fault. It's not our fault that they're hungry. It is the fault, well, it's their own fault because they prioritized something before that food. And, well, some of them are going to pay the price for that, right? They're going to find themselves in dire straits, and when they do, they will expect those of us who've thought carefully about what's going on and decided that maybe, just maybe, food for the future could be an important thing to collect. And they will use violence to try and get their way with us giving them our supplies. They will bash us in the media for having the fucking nerve to be prepared. For having the nerve of saying, no, we took the time and money, among other resources, to, well, we sacrificed to be prepared. And why would we give our stuff away to people who do not have the slightest bit of gratitude for what they already have? And I myself, I am guilty of this. I'm guilty of lacking gratitude sometimes. I'm guilty of being selfish. I'm guilty of a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I prioritized my child's future well-being over my own short-term wants. Point here is, we should not follow the science. We should not worship these people, and God damn it, we should really be fucking grateful for the shit we have. And again, I am guilty of being an ungrateful bastard at times. I really am. And I'm working on being more grateful for the things I have, such as my daughter there, my son inside, my chickens, all of it, my wife. And it is through this gratitude that I find comfort, contentment, and sometimes, not all, but sometimes, even happiness. So don't follow the science, follow your consciousness, because that is the greatest guide to get you through the hell these fucking politicians are unleashing on the world. Until next time, kill the state, live free.